Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the news you missed on Tuesday, the 14th of October, 2025. We're fast racing through October. There's loads going on. We've got peace deals being signed. We've got Spain launching new political parties. We've got all sorts going on out there. So let's dive into the news and let's find out what's going on. In Spain, anti-establishment influencer Alvis Perez has officially launched a new right-wing party called Se Acabó la Fiesta, or The Party is Over. At the launch rally in Madrid, Perez said his movement aims to challenge what he calls Spain's corrupt political system. He promised tougher action on illegal migration, including large-scale deportations, and proposed stricter penalties for corruption and lower taxes for families. Perez, now a member of the European Parliament, has also criticised the EU's support for Ukraine, saying Spain should avoid involvement in foreign wars. US President Trump has hailed a historic Gaza peace deal as answered prayers for millions, following a summit in Sharm el-Sheikh with world leaders including Egypt's Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, Turkey's Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and Qatar's Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. The agreement comes after 2 years of devastating conflict, during which tens of thousands were killed and dozens taken hostage. Trump described the deal as the start of lasting peace in the region, with leaders pledging to implement and monitor the ceasefire to ensure stability for Israel, Gaza and neighbouring nations. And for those out there who want a little bit of a laugh, you should watch it, because, dare I say it, UK Prime Minister Starmer made a bit of a boo-boo, thinking he was being invited up to talk, when actually Trump was just saying hello to him. In Russia, a regional lawmaker has called for a nationwide ban on Halloween, labelling the holiday as a form of Satanism. Mikhail Ivanov, who heads the group Orthodox Russia, says Halloween promotes occult themes that undermine the country's traditional and spiritual values. He argues it has a destructive effect on young people and should be legally restricted. Ivanov is urging Russians to focus on national holidays and heroes instead of what he calls foreign celebrations. His comments come amid growing concern from religious leaders about the rise of occult practices in the country. In Massachusetts, a Christian couple has lost their foster license after refusing to sign a state policy requiring foster parents to affirm a child's sexual orientation and gender identity. Lydia and Heath Marvin, who have cared for 8 young children, say the policy conflicts with their faith, forcing them to choose between their beliefs and vulnerable children. The case has drawn national attention, with advocacy groups on both sides debating religious freedom versus protections for LGBTQ+ youth. The Marvins are exploring legal options to challenge their decision. And a wondrous story. Amid the federal government shutdown, President Trump has ordered Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to ensure that US military personnel receive their pay on schedule. While many federal employees have been furloughed or had pay withheld, Trump says troops must not be held hostage by the shutdown. About 750,000 other workers remain unpaid, and thousands of non-essential staff have already been laid off. The standoff continues as Republicans and Democrats remain deadlocked over a spending plan, with both sides blaming each other for the ongoing government closure. Newsmax has rejected the Pentagon's new press restrictions, calling them unnecessary and onerous. The rules, introduced by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, would require reporters to avoid gathering any information not pre-approved by the department, with non-compliance risking loss of press credentials. So far, only one American news has agreed to sign. The Pentagon revised the rules after backlash from media groups and the National Press Club, but critics say the policy still threatens press freedom and could intimidate journalists covering the military. In Kiev, a Jewish man was attacked after confronting a group of young men performing Nazi salutes, according to the local Obolon synagogue. The victim, wearing traditional Jewish garments, was sprayed with pepper spray and suffered chemical burns. The synagogue called the incident a targeted and premeditated act of anti-Semitism. Authorities have launched an investigation, and the Israeli ambassador is coordinating with Ukrainian officials. This comes amid growing concerns over ultra-nationalist groups in the country that glorify Nazi-era collaborators. Flooding in central and eastern Mexico has killed at least 64 people, with 65 still missing, as rivers overflowed, landslides struck, and roads and bridges were swept away. Veracruz, Hidalgo, and Puebla have been hardest hit. Thousands of troops, along with boats, planes, and helicopters, are assisting in rescue and relief efforts, while shelters have opened for those displaced. Officials warn the death toll could rise as rescue operations continue, amid record-breaking rainfall across Mexico this year. And the numbers are finally in on the Israel and Hamas prisoner swap. They have completed a major prisoner swap, marking a key step in the US brokered Gaza ceasefire. Israel has released 250 Palestinian prisoners, while Hamas has returned all 20 living Israeli hostages and handed over the remains of 4 others. Emotional reunions took place across Israel, the West Bank and Gaza. The deal comes after 2 years of war that left tens of thousands dead, and world leaders, including President Trump, hailed the agreement as a chance to move towards lasting peace in the region. And heading over to the UK, Lloyds is bracing for a £1.95 billion hit from a car finance scandal. That's right, nearly £2 billion for people who may have paid a bit too much for their cars over the years. Eligible customers could get an average of £700 back, which is enough for a small hatchback or maybe just a tank of petrol. Lloyds say it's contributing to the FCA's consultation, which basically means the bank gets to argue over math. It probably wishes it hadn't done it in the first place. Meanwhile, their shares are still up, proving there's nothing like a good scandal to keep investors entertained. A story I'm following quite closely. In the ongoing Tommy Robinson court case, Canadian journalist Ezra Levant, founder of Rebel News, says he was blocked from reporting live from the court by the BBC. Levant, who flew in overnight to cover the trial, claims the BBC repeatedly intervened to silence his live tweets, despite his extensive court reporting experience. He argues this is part of both commercial and ideological rivalry, warning that only government-approved voices are currently allowed inside the courtroom. Levant says millions of people are eager for alternative perspectives on the case. And this is a strange one, because from what I'm hearing, Tommy hasn't committed any terror offences, but he's being charged with not giving access to a mobile phone under terrorism laws. Tell me that's not abuse of power. And really, in my eyes, he should be trialled by a jury, not a judge, a jury of his peers. I'd love to hear everyone's comments down below in the chat. And English football is about to get its very own financial babysitter. The new independent regulator plans to license all 116 top clubs starting in 2027, checking their finances, debts, and even asking fans what they think, because apparently your opinion now matters more than a billionaire owner's bank balance. Clubs could see spending caps, stress tests, and even orders to sell if they're too reckless. So in the future, your team might still win, but only if they pass accounting class first. That is an absolutely great thing that is coming, because for too long, these billionaire owners lose their money or give up on the club and they watch the club go under. It's bonkers. Right, everybody? It's been a wild one over the last 24 hours in your financial funny corner. Let's start with the headline number. Over $194 billion just flooded back into the global cryptocurrency market cap. That's right, the rebound is on, at least for now. And helping that optimism, Kenya's parliament just approved a new law to regulate cryptocurrency and digital assets. It's the first for the region, meant to attract legitimate investment and turn Nairobi into a blockchain hub. Translation: Kenya wants a piece of the Web3 pie. Meanwhile, in Bhutan, yes, Bhutan, the kingdom just became the first nation to launch a digital identity system on Ethereum. Vitalik Buterin himself showed up for the ceremony, proving that even monks are joining the blockchain age. Now let's talk markets. Gold hit another all-time high again, topping $4,076 an ounce. At this point, gold isn't a safe haven, it's a runway, and crypto's matching that energy, BNB hits a record $1,375. Tether printed another $1 billion. And Bitmine Immersion added a casual 202,000 Ethereum to its reserves. Apparently, diamond hands now come with a data center. But not everyone's having fun. Stake and Shake tried accepting payments in Ethereum, then backed down after crypto Twitter told them this ain't it. So yeah, burgers are still better with cash, or at least stablecoins. Meanwhile, BlackRock's Larry Fink said on 60 Minutes that crypto deserves a place in the same way gold does. That's right, the guy who manages trillions just called Bitcoin digital bullion. Citibank, worth $1.7 trillion, is joining in too, announcing crypto custody services coming in 2026. Wall Street, it seems, doesn't want to miss the party this time, and even as the government shutdown drags on, Treasury officials admit it's starting to hurt the economy. But hey, Michael Saylor just bought another 220 Bitcoin for $27 million, so at least somebody's confident. Finally, a little market mood check. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index just jumped from extreme fear to regular fear. It's progress at least. The takeaway, from Kenya to Wall Street, gold to Bitcoin, the world's money is evolving again. Just remember, every boom has a correction and every dip has a comeback. So keep your wallet diversified and your emotions unleveraged. Nigel Farage is betting big on Bitcoin, and apparently he wants the whole of Britain to join him. At a London summit, he unveiled plans for a national Bitcoin reserve, a 10% crypto tax, and even promises to fund it with £5 billion seized from criminals. Basically, Farage wants London to be a crypto playground, while calling the Bank of England's caution ridiculous. Think Trump with crypto, but with a British accent, a point in hand, and a national reserve made of Bitcoin instead of gold. And now we are heading over to Drew's Hackers Corner, where the password is always please don't click that. This week, hackers got creative again. A new piece of malware called Chaos Bot is spreading through corporate networks, and it's using Discord, the chat app, as its command center. That means if someone at work clicks the wrong link, hackers can take over their entire computer, quietly through a platform meant for gaming. Meanwhile, another group found a way to hide malware commands inside GitHub, which is where developers store code. So even if police shut down their servers, the virus just pops back up like it's pressing respawn. Yeah, the internet's version of whack-a-mole. And if that's not enough, Microsoft had to lock down Internet Explorer mode inside Edge because hackers were using old browser code to break in. So if you still see that blue E anywhere, maybe let it retire gracefully. The bottom line, this stuff sounds technical, but the defenses aren't. Update your devices, use two-factor authentication, and if an email looks weird or too urgent, don't click. Call someone first. Hackers win when we rush, so slow down, stay sharp, and remember, safety online isn't about paranoia, it's about peace of mind. Well, that was the news you missed on the 14th of October 2025. Join us on charlieward.com, where you can join us on the Insiders Club every Wednesday and Saturday, where you get to ask questions and find out what's going on deeper under the surface in the world. So all that's left for me to say is to take care, God bless, and see you all soon. Bye now.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.